2016. We do hope to have a second round of smaller planning grants that we'll be able to announce later this year. Again, those will be planning grants somewhere between $35,000 to $40,000. And then if we receive continued funding through the General Assembly, we hope to be able to target additional groups, have additional applicants that will be able to apply, as well as target different student groups with the funds. This performance period will be January 1, 2017 through June 30, 2018. That's an 18-month performance period. So what are affordable pathways? For the purposes of this grant, we have defined affordable pathways as being sequential academic courses or learning experiences with connected support services developed to result in a cost savings to the student while in pursuit of a degree or credential Some characteristics and examples of pathway programs could include, we have a long list here, but basically there are definitely, as we said before in the definition, academic courses and learning experiences coupled with support services. That could look like a dual enrollment program where you have early college credits for students, career shadowing, tutoring and mentoring, any of those kind of support services that would help a student get through a program and then result in some cost savings. Some examples are here, and also in the guidance there are a list of examples with links to programs. You'll notice that with some partnerships and pathways, some PK partnerships are kind of embedded in the program. That would be like a dual enrollment where it's just naturally part of the actual career pathway, program affordable pathway. Some examples, again, would be like a dual enrollment, or say if you had a summer program, we had PK students coming to campus, staying on campus. You had shared faculty with the PK-12 or secondary school also on campus, helping students meet SOLs. That's naturally embedded. However, some things might not be as cut and clear. You may have an affordable pathway that does not have a direct linkage currently with a PK-12 partnership. For the purpose of this grant, we would definitely need to have created a partnership with K-12, specifically with a high school. You could be helping students prepare for college in general, understanding what it takes, understanding what affordable pathways are, things that they can ask for and look for as they explore colleges, sharing them what resources you have at your institution, what affordable pathways exist there, helping families understand what that process is. That could be helping them understand learning communities, 15 to finish, helping them realize what resources are available for them to have some cost savings and or cost avoidance. So who can apply? The legal applicant, fiscal agent, has to be a higher ed institution, but there also has to be a partnership with at least one high school. You can have additional partnerships. You could partner with an entire school division, additional high schools. You can reach out to the middle schools. You could partner with private industry. You can have additional public and or private higher ed institutions working with you, but there has to be at least one partnership between a higher ed and at least one high school. We're looking for quality over quantity. Obviously, if you have more partnerships, the program may be able to service and provide additional services. However, if you have just additional partnerships and they are not of value and contributing to the student's success, having those additional partnerships is not what we're looking for. We're looking for the strength of those partnerships, even if it is just one. What is expected? And I just saw a question pop up, and no, those partnerships do not have to exist already. They could be developed in the grant. You want to describe that in your proposal, but we'd still need you to have outcomes within that 18th-month period. So while we understand that it takes time to develop partnerships, we still need to have an actual results and outcomes from the program within the performance period, but they do not have to currently exist. Student outcomes. We're looking for every grant to be able to, every proposal to result in cost savings to the student. That includes cost avoidance. We're going to ask you to, in your proposal, identify how these students there will be a cost savings, how you calculate that, and actually put a number to it. Obviously, there needs to be enhanced partnerships. I need to clearly articulate what the partner roles and responsibilities are. You'll be using a partnership identification form to help explain that. If you're proposing support of an existing partnership, the partner application must demonstrate how the relationship will be strengthened. What additional responsibilities, how is it going to be strengthened, what additional commitments are going to be made through this grant. You have to demonstrate increased educational outcomes for the students and how you will measure that using data. We're looking for program and partnership sustainability. This is a one-time grant, so we will need to see how you plan to sustain the program after the grant goes away, and or how the expenses that you're requesting being covered through the grant will only be one-time startup or expansion expenses, non-recurring. Lastly, we're looking for program scalability. We're really looking for some best practices and things that we can do and share with other institutions. So we want you to share with us how you think this program could be replicated in other areas, under what conditions, and or how you can scale the program. Other deliverables, obviously, again, we'll be looking for the outcomes that we just went over, as you explained in your proposal. But we're also going to be asking you to participate in a one-day kickoff event that will occur here in Richmond somewhere between January and February 2017, which will be soon after your grant begins, and ask that you bring a team representative of the partnerships within the program. And we do ask that you include these travel expenses in the budget that you submit. Your budget request should include travel to a one-day event in Richmond. Also be looking for you to help us coordinate a regional partnership. Some of you may have attended or heard about the summit that we had this past June, Access, Success, and Completion. We feel like that was kind of a state kickoff of a conversation that we hope will continue. And we see the next level of conversation occurring at the regional level. And so our next effort will be to have conversations at the regional level and involve more stakeholders. And we're going to ask your support in identifying locations, who should attend, helping to promote it within your region. So this is not something you'll have to fund or put in your budget, but we are going to ask for your cooperation and as we coordinate these events regionally. Participate in any other SHEV identified training opportunities that we may come across that will be fitting for the programs that you're offering. Help coordinate any SHEV site visits as requested. We may want to come out and see what you're doing. And then lastly, submit midterm and final written reports. Midterm being due October 2nd, 2017. Your final report, August 15th, 2018. That's 45 days out from your closing date, June 30. So how do we apply? Pretty concise application. There's obviously a cover page. We will be accepting electronic signatures. Everyone should submit a program abstract, which is a one-pager. You may single-space this page only with 1-inch margins and using Times Roman 12-point font. Those two do not count toward your actual program scoring. That begins with the program narrative, which is worth 65 points. That includes the program design and the evaluation plan. And this section can be up to 6 pages, double-spaced. We ask that you please number these pages. Again, 1-inch margins using 12-point Times Roman. There will also be a partner identification forms that you have as part of your application. These points will be part of your program design as you talk about how your partnerships are established, how they'll be maintained, the different roles of partners. The details of your partnerships will really be provided in this partnership form, which also has to be signed by that partner. You should submit one partnership form for each partnership that you have. However, if you do decide to partner with an entire district, you only need to have signatures from that district office, that systems office. You do not need to get signatures from each school within the district. Otherwise, there should be one form per partnership. Next will be work plans. These are worth 25 points. The work plans talk about, it lays out the spreadsheets, an Excel document. If you go back to our grants page, you'll see there's an Excel file. The work plan asks for your activities, who's going to be conducting them, who's responsible for them, how you will measure those activities, and the timeline for doing them. There's a work plan for each of the 5 outcomes that we went over earlier: educational outcomes, strengthening partnerships, sustainability, scalability, and cost savings to students. So there's one work plan per outcome. Those various work plans you can find at the bottom of the Excel sheet. They have tabs at the bottom for each one of the outcomes. Lastly, there's a budget spreadsheet, also an Excel file you can find on the grants page. This is worth 10 points. By category, there is not an equipment category. No equipment can be purchased with this grant. And that should be submitted as Appendix C. Your partner identification forms will be Appendix A. work plans, Appendix B, and your budget, Appendix C. I'm not going to go through every part of the grant submission. However, I'm going to provide a little bit more details about the program narrative section, which is worth 65 points. And that's made up of the program design, which is 55 points, and it should have these sections end with these headers. The first would be the need, services and activities, goals and outcomes, and partnership sustainability. Under sustainability is where you would also talk about scalability. And here again, you may make reference to your partnership identification forms where you will find additional details about your partnerships and their various roles. Next section would be your evaluation plan. It should at least worth 10 points. It should at least describe how it will be developed collaboratively, how there's a process for updating the evaluation process. It should cover the entire performance period. It should assess the program based upon the proposed activities and planned outcomes. And lastly, it should provide opportunities for input from the stakeholders, including the students that you're serving. Proposal submission. Proposals are due on Friday, October 21st by 4:00 p.m. They should be submitted electronically via email in a PDF format to chevcommunications@chev.edu. Please note Affordable Pathways Partnership Grant Submission in the subject line of your email message. When? We've discussed most of these dates already, but I just want to highlight again that the applications are due at 4:00 by 4:00 on October 21st. The awards will be announced on December 1st, and the grant performance period will begin on January 1. We will have a kickoff in January or February of 2017. Midterm progress reports are due in October of 2017. We will be coordinating regional educational partnership forums and events throughout the grant performance period with your support, and then the period ends June 30, 2018, with your final report being submitted August 15, 2018. Okay. That concludes the formal presentation, and we do want to open the line up now for questions and answers. Please feel free to unmute your phones and ask your questions.
Hello, this is Desiree Urquhart from Police Camp.
Good morning, Desiree.
Good morning. Can we have a copy of the PowerPoint?
Yes, the PowerPoint will be posted on our grants page on the CHEV website. If you go to the chev.edu, click under institutions, and then you'll see grants, and to the left you'll see Affordable Pathways. And that's where we'll be posting any resources relating to the grant, including this presentation.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Any other questions? Go ahead.
This is Desiree again. I was late on the webinar, and I see that this session has been recorded. How do I access that?
Desiree, I think you may have called in, and then also it seems you've been connected by your computer, which gives a little bit of an echo. I think, have we heard that correctly? You were talking about the recording of the event.
Right.
Is that, yes. And I did hit record on slide 2, so we missed the introduction, but we have been recording it, and we will post the recording on the website after we complete this.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. We do have a question that's been submitted online. It asks, is a 501c university foundation eligible to apply on behalf of an institution or a higher education institute under this RFP process? The actual applicant has to be the institution. This time we're not open to foundations at this point. The applicant has to be the actual institution.
And you're welcome to submit through the chat box or also just ask online through the phone. Oh, we have another one here.
This question says it's related to expansion. If we have an already implemented program that is included as an example in the CFP, would an expansion of that program be eligible for funding under this grant? Yes. if you have an existing Affordable Pathways program that includes a partnership and you're looking to expand it, that's fine. That's allowed under this RFP. But indeed, you would have to show, one, how that program is working, why there's a need to expand it, and how this would increase or enhance those partnerships that are existing.
One thing while we're waiting for some other questions to come in, if there are more, as a note, the regional forums that we talked about, this is something that is a follow-up from our summit. If some of you had attended or were familiar with it in June on access, success, and completion, and it was Our Students, Our Future. We held it in Richmond. There's been an ongoing interest for supporting those plugs regionally at a state level from the governor's office, as well as an interest from the General Assembly. And so we want to use this opportunity for getting those dialogues started to work with our grant applicants on that possibility. And with that, the regions would be broader than what the applicant and the partnership would have, and our interest is that the applicant would be able to help identify participants in the area and other partners to work with for doing that. And but this is an important aspect both at a governor's level, at a General Assembly level, as well as a strong focus for SHOV. And that's one thing that we want to emphasize is these grants are a potential for institutions to highlight some great practices, to demonstrate those. We want to share those with the General Assembly, with the governor's office, and also with our national partners, Lumina. They were very active in this grant development, and the Lumina Foundation will be participating with us as we look at these kickoff meetings. This is part of a national focus on both partnerships with K-12 through many large foundations, as well as several initiatives, including Complete College America, as well as this Affordable Pathways notion. So we're really excited to be able to offer this, and just want to mention that this is an opportunity, again, as I said, for institutions to highlight their work and potentially put the practices that they have at a state and national level for focus.
When can we expect to see the PowerPoint on your website?
We can have that posted right after we get off, so within about an hour.
Thank you.
I think the recording may take a little bit. GoToMeeting, we have to download the audio file, and I think it takes them a little bit of time to upload the audio file for us, but the actual PowerPoint will be available. But I think, Paula, for the most part, everything you've seen is what is included in the guidelines, so the more detailed information is there. We'd also included some examples in the guidelines of some affordable pathways that we have received through submissions, and there's some examples there. Of course, those are not the only way to do this. This is part of the Fund for Excellence and Innovation, so we're always seeking innovative ideas and approaches that meet your region and your higher education institution's needs.
Which items can be included in the budget? For instance, can tuition funds be included?
Scholarship funds.
Tuition. Yeah.
Do you mean like paying for student tuition?
Yes.
Part of the program?
Yes.
I'm not sure.
We're double checking on that.
Is there a list of eligible items for the budget?
Yes, it is included in the guidance. There's a list of eligible and allowable and unallowable found on page 12 of the guidance. I want to make sure before I speak.
We may need to, we'll post a few questions. We may need to get back.
I don't think it's clear within the guidelines, so we'll post a Q&A from this call, and that'll be one of the things that we'll be able to provide you with a direct answer.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Let's see. We have another question.
Okay, this question asks, this grants for partnerships with higher education in PK-12. Is it accurate that partnerships between four-year schools and community colleges are not included in this? That's correct. This would be for the higher ed with PK-12. Although additional partnerships can happen with other institutions, be it a 2-year or other 4 years, but you must have a linkage with PK-12 as well, and it has to be at least one high school.
We certainly encourage, there's some great affordable pathways programs. One of the ones that we're very familiar with is the Pathways to Baccalaureate up at George Mason, and there's a very strong partnership between PK-12, community college, and the 4-year institution.
Does this budget allow the purchase of new equipment?
Not equipment, $5,000 or over. Materials and supplies are allowed.
And do I remember seeing that in the PowerPoint I did, right?
I don't think so. It did not go over the budget line items. I think I just did that verbally. It is in your program, in the guidance on page 12.
There's a full page
Okay.
of allowable and unallowable.
And it speaks specifically about anything allowable, meaning materials and supplies less than $5,000, any one single item. That's considered a material supply. Anything that goes over that will be considered equipment, which is not allowed.
So, okay, so no equipment.
Correct. And you'll notice on the actual budget form, there is no line, no category for equipment.
Okay.
And part of this is that because this is all coming from General Assembly funds, we do have an higher education equipment trust fund. So we are looking not to duplicate other funding sources that are coming from a similar pot of money from the General Assembly.
Further questions? Are there any further questions for us? If not, we'll conclude the call at this point. As Wendy stated, we'll be putting this PowerPoint on the grants page, Chev's grants page, under the Affordable Pathways grant. We'll also post Q&As from this call, specifically including the one we discussed earlier regarding paying for student tuition, as well as the recording by tomorrow. Hopefully we'll be able to post that. If not, just continue to go back to the site. We will post the recording as soon as it is available. However, the PowerPoint will be posted today. That's all. We thank you for joining. Feel free to contact us for questions. My email here, paulafisher@chev.edu. And that's also we'll also include the grant, well, you'll have that, but the website address for additional resources. Thank you for your time. We look forward to reviewing your proposals.
Thank you.